What's good, y'all? Welcome to another episode, and today we are talking about sports cars that hold their value better than you think. All right, so this list right here is going to be for the people who want to buy a car that they really like, enjoy it for a decent amount of time, and sell it without losing too much of their money, right? If that's you, this video is definitely going to benefit you. But without further ado, let's talk about it. Bring it in. What's good, y'all? So, of course, before we start this video, make sure you check the website, lowexcelapparel.com. You know we're going to continue to preach this. New merch will be on the way. I don't got the date just yet, but just make sure that you stay in tune. But in the meantime, make sure you go to the site, get what you need. You could also shop on the actual YouTube page as well. You'll see some of the merch come up on there. Go get you a hoodie, go get you a t-shirt, get whatever you need that is going to support and satisfy you, okay? Make sure you look good for yourself. Make sure you look good for the people around you that you love, okay? And make sure you support the people that you love. You love the channel? Support the channel. You already know. And, of course, I greatly appreciate it. But that's enough about that. Let's get into the video. Number one, that would be 2022 to 2024 Subaru BRZ. This car came equipped with a 2.4 liter H4, 228 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 5.4 seconds. So the resale value of this car is 61.2%. Keep that in mind. So this right here is a nice, cheap sports car that you can jump in, especially if you're younger as well. Now, I don't want to cap this car as just for teenagers or for young adults. This car could be for anybody who just has a joy for cars and a joy for light cars that handle well, that have enough power for their size, and they could just throw around and toss around, right? This car is going to be reliable. It has average reliability, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But this is still going to be a car that's very tunable as far as not so much engine things, but accessories. You know, you can make this car look really good. You can do what you need to do with this car, and it's going to drive very good. This is one of those cars that you really don't want to go too crazy on with the tuning and modding, because it just comes from the factory good enough to do what you want it to do, right? And remember, the goal of this video is for you to buy your car, not spend too much money on it as far as third-party parts, stuff like that, but be able to enjoy it, have it for a certain amount of time, put it back up on the market, and not lose too much money, right? So we're not going to talk too much about modding any of these cars, but you already know what it is. Issues that you may run into with this is it does go through oil, so high oil consumption, and they did have a recall on the valve springs, right? So keep that in mind. Make sure you do address that, or make sure it was addressed already. But still, this is a car that you can jump in. You could even jump into the older body style, the one that came before 22, and still enjoy it. It's still going to maintain its value relatively well, and it's still going to be a really fun car to drive. So keep that in mind. But let's move on. Number two, that would be a 2021 to 2024 Nissan GTR. This came equipped with a 3.8 liter, 565 horsepower, 467 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 2.9 seconds. This is legendary, y'all. Y'all know what GTR bring to the table. Everybody wanted a GTR at one point, and a lot of people still do. Why is that? Because this car was great as far as what it was capable of doing and what it continues to do today. This car still surprises many people who either tune cars or just drive cars for the first time and want to see what it's about. This car still surprises people to this day. The only issue is it hasn't really changed much as far as looks go since 09, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. But it lets you know how ahead of the game and how ahead of the time this car actually was. It really puts it into perspective. What car makers do you know kept the same car in rotation as far as looks go for over a decade and a half? You really can't name many, if any at all, right? So this car is legendary. It's already stamped in history. We've always loved the Skyline, and the GTR is nothing less short of amazing. All right, like it does a lot of things. It's broken many records, and it's just a great car to own. So this car is actually above average reliability, so you're not going to run into too many issues. But issues that you may come across would be steering knuckle recall. There was a steering knuckle recall you want to get addressed. You will sometimes run into transmission issues and electrical issues, right? So make sure these issues have at least been attended to before you purchase this car, whether you get a 21, a 24, or you even go older. Even the older cars, y'all, are still holding very well value, especially for what it's worth. You really wouldn't expect it, but for a GTR, you kind of can expect it. So just keep that in mind. You're definitely looking to keep a car, have fun with it, and sell it and keep your money. Definitely check that out. But let's move on. Number 3, that would be a Subaru WRX. This came equipped with a 2.4 liter H4, 268 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 5.5 seconds. So by no means is this a GTR, y'all. By no means. But this is now going to be a car that you could actually get into and without breaking the bank up front, right? The GTR, you're going to have your ducks in a row. You're going to have your money saved to jump into that today, especially. But for this, you could jump in and say, hey, I always liked this car, or I always wanted to see what this car was about. Jump in it, enjoy it for a year or two. Feel me? Don't spend too much money on mods unless you're planning on getting another version of this car, maybe a STI possibly. But don't spend too much money and be able to just sell it again. Now, fun fact, Subarus are usually number 1 when it comes to resale value, right? So keep that in mind. Any Subaru you get is usually going to have a over or above average resale value. So that's always good from the brand of Subaru. But this right here is still going to be a fun car. It's going to be a practical car. It's going to be a capable car. You can do a lot of things with this. It's going to handle all problems. Once again, we're not looking to tune it too crazy. And if you really wanted something faster, you could get an STI, but the WRX is still going to hold its value very well. And for the most part, it's going to be average, right? This car actually has above average reliability. So you're not going to really run into too many issues. But when you do, issues that may come up is oil consumption, just like the BRZ. A lot of people complain about weak brakes. So that would actually be a good mod for you to change or fix if you needed to. Turbocharger issues, and once again, the valve recall. Once you get those attended to, addressed, make sure the person that you're buying it from had that address, or if you're buying it brand new, make sure that, hey, you got a warranty on it just in case those things do go out. But again, this is a great car for you to jump in, have it for a year or two, lease it if you need to. Okay, get in this car, lease it if you need to, sell it right back. You're not going to really be in a hole too much. This car is not going to depreciate crazy, so keep that in mind. But let's move on. Number 4, that would be a Porsche 718. This came equipped with a 2 liter H4, 300 horsepower, 280 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 4.9 seconds. So this is the newer version, right? The 718 is the newer style version of a Boxster in a sense, right? So this Porsche is still new on the market. It's still fresh, and it is costly to get into. But again, this is one of those cars now. You got to have money saved up, just like how you had that GTR to even put down on a car like this. But just know, when you do put that money down on this car, you're going to be able to sleep at night and be like, yo, I made a good decision, because it's not going to tank in a year or two like a Range Rover or a very expensive Mercedes would do, right? Shout out to Mercedes though. We don't hate you. We just know how it go. But yeah, this is not going to do that, y'all. This is actually going to be, it's a Porsche. I mean, what do you expect? Porsches are known to maintain their reliability. They're known to maintain their value. Everybody wants a Porsche of some nature, whether it's an SUV, whether it's a 4-door sedan, or it's a coupe or a convertible. Everybody wants a Porsche. They always drive great. Everybody knows the time that they put into this, right? So this is going to be a great car for you to jump in. And as far as we know, up to this point, this vehicle was actually above average when it comes to reliability. Not too many people had issues with it. But some things that you may run into is the headliner material A lot of people have talked about that kind of falling apart a little bit. So definitely get that addressed. Vacuum leaks, electrical issues, and leaky axle boots. Not too crazy, but it's still not going to be cheap. You feel me? So once again, keep some money aside. It's still a Porsche at the end of the day. It's still a foreign, so course will definitely be more expensive than something that's not, right? But again, when you do go to sell this car, you're not going to lose too much unless you got a lemon going into it. And if you did, I advise you to handle that with your lawyers, okay? Don't try to do that by yourself, but you should be good. The brand of Porsche is really usually good as well. You just got to make sure who you getting it from. But yeah, this is still going to be a great option for you if you want to save money on the back end. But let's move on. Number 5, that would be a Chevy Corvette C8. This came equipped with a 6.2 liter V8, 490 horsepower, 470 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 2.9 seconds. So I truly do believe the Corvette does get the short end of the stick. A lot of people don't hype this car the way that they should, because I feel as though speed, the way we view speed has changed, and the way we view cars have changed. I think if they came out with this car like this maybe 10 years ago, people would have lost their mind. But because there's a lot of competition in today's society, it doesn't get the respect that it deserves. A lot of people, think this is just a cheap car, and it's really not, right? Although it's American made, this C8 is really ahead of the game. They made it a mid-engine car. It's the first of its class, the first of its time. The Corvette has never done that, and people always wanted them to do that. And the fact that they finally done it and they came out with this car, it's really a good car. Right? I mean, a lot of people may say their things about it, but it's really a good car. It looked great as well. It kind of looks like a supercar, to be fair with you, and it sounds good, right? The interior is very, very modern. It's advanced, to be honest with you. You would never expect a Chevy Corvette interior to look like this car looks, right? So the car looks good inside and out, sounds good, drives great. What more do you want? When it comes to reliability, it's average, to good. Some people had average, some people had good reliability with it. Issues that you may run into is transmission issues and electrical issues. So keep that in mind. But once again, it's still a Corvette. Surprisingly, it does have a good resale value. I did read up on this car, and some people have the resale value slightly off. Some had 68, some had a little under 68. So keep that in mind. But either way, it's still high. Like, this is still a great car to buy if you do plan on selling it, maybe in the first year, maybe in the second year, or you could keep it for longer, right? You could keep it for 5 years. This car is still not going to depreciate that crazy, and you'll still be able to get good money when you sell it. So keep that in mind. So that's a list for me, y'all. 5 sports cars that hold their value better than you think, but you already know how I do. I always got to drop a bonus for you, and the bonus of the day would be a Lexus RCF, right? This came equipped with a 5-liter V8, 472 horsepower, 395 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, what we talking? 4.2 seconds. Yeah, I had to throw a Lexus up there. I had to. And to be fair, the RCF really doesn't get a lot of credit at all. A lot of people sleep on this car. I actually could have put this car in a lot of different videos that I've done already based on what it does and what it's really worth, right? But I think it fits perfect here. This is a great car that you can jump in. That's going to be very reliable, right? It's average to good reliability, or above average to good reliability, right? And it sounds good. 5-liter V8, that's, we talking that's what they put in Mustangs. Maybe not the same engine, but still, you feel me? Like, you're dealing with a nice size V8. You're dealing with a very luxurious car, and it looks good, and not many people have it. Okay. Yeah, initially it was, I would say, overpriced, to be fair, for what it's worth, right? I feel as though Lexus have been so advanced at just making good cars, they feel as though they don't have to be super ahead of the curve when it comes to their technology within the car. So sometimes things are like out of date in a sense when you jump into Lexus, but they still look good for what it's worth, right? They're still great cars. They still look good. It's just sometimes their tech seems like it's out of date, which is why when these cars do hit the market and the price is super crazy, people get into it and compare it to other cars that are more modern in today's society. And they be like, you know what? I'm going to go with that instead of this, right? But this is still going to be a great car that you can jump in. And for this, I would definitely advise you to get something, older, maybe a 2020, maybe a 21, right? Jump into this when, the partial depreciation hit it already, which again is not much at all. And now you jump in it, maybe have it for a year or two, have your fun with it, do what you need to do, sell it, and you're not going to lose too much money, okay? And it's still going to be a fun car. Maybe not the funnest car on this list, but it's still going to be a fun car, still going to be a luxurious car, and it's still going to be a car that you can do things in without a problem and feel good while you're doing it. Issues that you may run into is coolant leaks, transmission leaks, and that valley plate. Just keep an eye on that. But other than really leaks, you see what I'm saying? You're really good with that car. It's still a Lexus. It's still gonna hold its value, and it's still gonna be very reliable. So that's my list, y'all. If it was up to me, what would I go with? I feel like y'all know me by now. And if y'all don't know me, crazy. Matter of fact, put in the comment section what you think I would get. Pause it right now and let me know what you think I would get. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm jumping in that GTR. Come on, like, y'all know me better than that. Yeah, it's Japanese, but I like Japanese cars. And it's a GTR, man. It's the most legendary car on this list. Let's be fair, right? But if I didn't jump in that GTR, I would jump in that C8, okay? But I'm not sleeping on that 718. I'm not asleep. Trust me, I'm awake. But I got to jump in the GTR. C8 is second for me. Then I would jump in that 718. But y'all get in the comment section below. Let me know what y'all would jump in. Also, if you got a car and you looking to tune it, or you just looking to work on it, make sure you check the link in my description. I got discounts for all car parts, y'all. All car parts, I got discounts for you. And if you want to tune your car, I got discounts on tuning software as well. So make sure you check that out. The link is in my description. Get you something and make sure your car is right. Make sure it's running right. Make sure it look good and make sure it's fast. If y'all like this video, make sure you share. Make sure you subscribe. And just like that, I'm out of here. Peace.